Hello everyone and welcome to Yellow Alert, where we take a look at all of the dev posts and responses on Spectrum, and basically I will read them out for you, make it easy so you don't have to read them yourself. So there you go. There are no announcements at the moment, so let's just dive straight in. Okay, so first up we had a post from Sunspot, and it says 680 XT graphics bug, and he asked, is there a fix coming soon for the lighting bug on the 6800 XT? It's making the game almost unplayable. I have to avoid night sides of moons and planets, etc. So we did have a response from A Brown from CIG, and he says, hi, yes, a fix should be coming soon for this. Thanks for your patience. I'll share more details as soon as I can. Ali Brown, that's the Director of Graphics Engineering. So that's good news for you 6800 XT graphics card owners. There will be a fix coming soon. Next up we had a post from Bad Lieutenant, and it says visual indicator for throttle position. So this is probably something for Yogi Klat, he says. Would it be possible to implement a visual indicator of the absolute throttle position? Why, I hear you ask. Most throttle devices don't have a physical indicator at their 50% mark, and if one is using a throttle for forward and backward on one axis, then it is really hard to find the 0% throttle position. So if we had a small marker next to the speed indicator that would show the throttle absolute position, then it would be much easier. So Yogi Klat actually came back and said at Bad Lieutenant, we actually talked about that during the last Combat Summit, especially for HOTAS users, as it's an important bit of UI that is missing. We'll task it up and see where it would fit in the current UI concepts. So yeah, it's on the cards, possibly. Okay, so the next three are a bit longer. Now I did ask you guys if you preferred me to gist the kind of concept of what they're going for or to read the whole thing out, and you guys chose for me to read the whole thing out. So I'm going to read the whole thing out, so bear with me. The next post was from Unobtainium, and it says, what is the Authority API? The Authority API mentioned in the Alpha 3.12 post-mortem. What is it? Is it about player authority authentication on game servers to validate their actions, or about servers having authority over entities in the game to be able to split the game world into multiple game servers? So we did have a response from Clive Johnson, and he says, the Authority API is to let servers know which entities they have authority control over. As you said, in server meshing, we need this to distribute control over entities to different servers. In the original client-server architecture code, could just assume that if it was running on the server, it would have control over any entity. Because the engine was designed so that clients and servers run a lot of the same code, there were thousands of places in the codebase that needed to check if it was running on a server or not. Some of these check control systems that are only available to a server, but others were really asking if the program had authority over an entity. It's the latter category that needed replacing with the Authority API. However, there was no way to tell the cases apart other than looking at every one of the checks individually and decided if it needed to change. Being such an enormous amount of work, this conversion was split over all the teams, file by file. This still resulted in hundreds of tasks, but thanks to everyone's hard work, it's now almost complete. Who's the tardy so-and-so with some of their conversion work left to do? That would be me. So I hope that explains Authority API to you guys, and I'm sure that you can probably find more detail on this online, but that's just their kind of breakdown. And next up we've got a post from Kenji84, I think, and it says favourite workflow improvements. What are your favourite workflow improvements past, present and future? So CIG Mark Abent came back and said, going to shout out to IT and Build Ops. I'll try to keep this short, but both teams did huge improvements throughout the years and I cannot stop giving them enough appreciation. I started working for CIG at the end of 2013. We had two studios, Austin and LA. Austin was the big dev powerhouse and LA just had a small dev crew with Chris Roberts. Working in games, you usually have two main types of build: dev builds and production builds. Dev builds can be built on production builds or manually generated. They are essentially the builds devs use to work on the game, and usually no two are alike. Due to the different data and code, so it makes testing MP a bit hard if everyone is using dev builds. Production builds are the packaged up game that should run without any configs or setup. Builds you give to QA, presentations and the public. These builds are designed to just run and allow anyone to share the same experience with the current state of the game, broken or not. It's the best way to measure the state of the game and features. We could generate dev builds among ourselves pretty quickly for people. We had all our data in P4 that we could pull, and any programmer, including myself, could generate the binaries for a subset of people. It was a pretty simple process, but there was a lot of data to pass around. For the small dev team in LA, it was not perfect, but it got the job done. However, to get production builds, it was a whole other process. We had almost daily builds that Austin would manually create. Then we, LA, would have to copy over from Austin. Let's just say to get builds was a long process. It also started to get extra complicated when we started to branch off the release builds. We needed a build system and distribution system which could handle large data, compile the game, package everything up, and somehow share it across the teams in different studios. IT and DevOps made huge improvements throughout the years. Nowadays we can limit what we pull from P4, only get what you need to replace in the build or work live on, so it's super quick. Our back-end system can support generating many production builds at a time from different streams: release, game dev, feature stream, etc. And our infrastructure allows us to grab hold of those builds quickly and safely. We also use a similar update system as the public patcher to download Delta builds. Only download the difference and now the entire build, so both the backers and dev teams share from the improved workflow. Now I might be speaking out of turn, but I'm pretty confident that that sentence should be only download the difference and not the entire build. That makes more sense, but I mean, I'm not Mark Abent, so I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what they're going for, and hopefully that makes that sentence make more sense. So there you go. Quite a long post. You'll have to excuse if sometimes it sounds like I don't know what I'm reading. It's just because sometimes these aren't written in the most grammatically correct way, and my brain struggles to read stuff that's not perfect. But yeah, I think you get the gist anyway. So yeah, really well done to the IT and build ops. Obviously been working hard. But that is pretty much it. It's a bit of a short week. There's not been a huge amount of updates from the devs. I'm sure that's going to increase as the year goes on, and we'll just keep bringing out what's available to you. So we hope you enjoy this. We hope you find it informative and amusing. And if you did like it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Star Citizen content. And yeah, don't forget to hit that notification bell if you want to be updated on the release of these yellow alerts, as well as our Spectrum dramas and everything else. So yeah, we really appreciate you guys dropping by. And if you've got any comments on the post we talk about, or even just the structure of this video, if there's anything you'd like us to add, or anything you'd like us to change, let us know. We're always interested in some feedback. But that is it. So thanks very much for watching. We'll see you again soon. Bye bye.